Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of For the Love of Drama. I am Fiona, and today I have decided to talk about the television series from 1979 to 1981, children's television series Worzel Gummidge, starring John Pertwee as Worzel Gummidge and Una Stubbs as Aunt Sally. This television series was based on the books by Barbara Eufen Todd. The initial plan was to make a film about the character Worzel Gummidge, and John Pertwee was chosen from the start to play the role. I believe that Ron Moody was first choice, but due to work commitments he couldn't do it. But for the film, unfortunately, the funds needed couldn't be secured. So John Pertwee persuaded the writers to create a television pilot instead. But this was first turned down by the BBC, and then also turned down by Thames Television. But Southern Television agreed to make the series. What a relief. Can't imagine my childhood without Worzel Gummidge in it, quite simply. So in the TV series, Worzel Gummidge was a scarecrow that came to life, and there were other scarecrows all around the county made by the crowman, who was in charge of all the scarecrows. His name escapes me at the moment, of the man that played him, but I will look it up and I will have it ready for the next episode. Jeffrey, I think. Jeffrey B. Something beginning with a B. Anyway, Worzel Gummidge lived in 10-acre field, where he would sometimes, occasionally, get to scaring the birds. But more often than not, he had lots of little jaunts out to the nearby village of Scatterbrook. There he makes friends with a brother and sister, John and Sue, who live in a caravan with their dad at Scatterbrook Farm, owned by Mr. and Mrs. Braithwaite. Worzel has a little robin redbreast that lives inside his chest, and he often has little mice running up and down his arms. He loves a slice of cake. No, I've got to get this phrase right. A cup of tea and a slice of cake was one of his favourite phrases in the show. And for some explicable reason, he was madly in love with Aunt Sally, who was absolutely horrible to him and only pretended to be nice to him when she wanted something or needed to get her own way about something. And as a child, I could never understand that, how no matter what she said or did to him, he always went back to her, even though he had the chance of happiness with other characters, the saucy Nancy, played by Barbara Windsor, and Dolly Closepeg, played by Lorraine Chase. But I found the series as a child quite moving, though I probably didn't know the meaning of the word back then, maybe. But I really enjoyed it. I thought the acting was, well, I've looked back at some of the episodes now, and the acting was great. Worzel Gummidge, played by John Pertwee, is brilliant. He's very mischievous, and he just sees what he wants and he goes out and gets it, to a certain extent. He has got a heart, even though he's completely made of straw. He is kind, sometimes. He can be quite rude to the children, but on the whole, they're mostly great friends. And I mustn't forget the collection of heads that he had for different situations and occasions. He had a handsome head, a thinking head, an arithmetic head, and a reading head, and lots more besides, all made by the crowman. So it definitely was one of my favourite programmes, one of my favourite all-time programmes when I was a child, and I loved it. And we sat spellbound watching it, which is just as well, because we didn't have TV on demand back then. You had one a week, about 25 minutes I think the episodes were, and that was your lot until next week. But there we are. But looking back on some of the episodes now, it is very dated with typical attitudes of the late 70s and early 1980s. But it still gives out really good messages about being kind and thoughtful and helpful to others. So, worth a watch if you want to go back down memory lane. And I will leave you there. Have a great week, and I will see you all on Friday. So, I'll bid you good day. Goodbye.